Hello everyone. Good morning. We're ahead of option expiration and a pretty long holiday weekend with Thanksgiving, and the market is chopping around. I'm going to be waiting for your symbols, and while you guys type in your symbols, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. So my name is Anka Metcalf. I am a professional independent trader that is focused on day trading, swing trading, and investing for the last 25 years. Been doing it on my own, and I come with 10 plus years in investment banking. So anything long term, swing, I am a true expert on it. Been doing it for a very long time. I'm also the CEO and founder of Trade Out Loud, which is a trading education company that is specialized in educating individuals how to day trade, swing trade, and actively invest in the market. And I specialize in high velocity trading. All right. Symbols are right now right in. The first symbol is CVS. So as you guys can see here, we have our charts ready to go. Now, CVS, what I want to do is I want to point out the monthly chart. And the reason for that is because most of the stocks right now have been a little bit under pressure. You guys see, the month of November was definitely not the most generous. And it's normal because we just made our money from April until the beginning of November. So we had a massive super duper power trend rally. And it's time for some profit taking. And this brings me to the monthly chart. So you were seeing that last month of October, had a little bit of a sell. How do I know that? Well, this topping tail suggests selling. So we did tackle the prior resistance. We also had some prior resistance right here, based on which the price action got rejected and sent the price back down. But it's still coiling around the 50 SMA, and long-term traders are looking at this 50 SMA. And even intermediate term traders, in terms of swing trading, they still look at this moving average. This suggests bullish above or bearish below. So it's simply very, very simple. So what we see right now in the first half of November, we still see the presence of a topping tail. Now, obviously, this candle is going to close in about at the end of the month, actually. So in about a week and 2 days. So with that being said, this is kind of like a pretty sideways type of, it's not bearish, but it's completely sideways. And then when we go to the weekly chart, you're going to see that we also have this 200 SMA right here. So we have the support from the 50 SMA onto the monthly chart, and we have the 200 SMA, which is literally the king of all moving averages, onto the weekly. So it's still holding support. And by the way, after earnings, it literally had a very mild pullback, right? So it's still holding above the 10 EMA. 10 EMA is the sign of a superpower trend. So the weekly chart is still superpower trending from August. Okay, so from August. What I do like about the structure here is that it has a low and it has a double bottom higher low. And if, for example, next week or going into the next month, we start trading above 80 bucks, like 82, 83, we are going to see that third higher low, right? So we have 1, 2, 3 higher low right here. So that's going to be a positive. So the main thing is to see CVS hold the $75 range. Now, from the daily chart, you can see here that okay, let me just take this out. All right. So you can see here what in detail what I was talking about, that we have a low, we have a higher low, we have a base over here with major support, and this was in the vicinity of the 200 SMA. So we're looking at the weekly chart here to hold the 200 SMA, and if it does, we could potentially progress higher. So here we have a low just after earnings. We have a similar low in the same area, so they're all into the around the $75 zone, and we have the little pullback here. So what is a little bit concerning, and the reason why I'm not bullish on it right away, is because we have a high and a lower high. So basically there's a decision that is going to be pending relatively soon. Why? Because we're creating this beautiful pennant right here, okay? This beautiful pennant. So this pennant is going to show us that the price action is either going to start breaking below. If it breaks 75, yes, it's going to start moving lower. Not as accelerated as one may want if you desire to short this, because there's strong support into the $74 created by this prior pivot high, also created into earnings. And if we break that, we have room to go into the around $70. And remember, this is the type of stock that kind of likes the whole number zones, right? So it kind of tops into $80. It finds support into the $70. So it's this kind of trade. However, if it starts breaking this downwarding trend line, it's going to start moving higher. So my bias on the CVS is caution. It's sideways. So not a lot of action going on right now. So what I would suggest, just sit and wait and see how it progresses. It's not a buy and it's not a sell. So it requires a lot of patience going into it. All right. Randy is asking about RKLB. All right, here is Rocket Lab Corporation, and Rocket Lab Corporation is right into support. You can see the rising, and by the way, this is the daily chart. You can see the rising 200 SMA. We're already seeing the support here at $40, but we're also noticing the fact that the volume is going down. So right after earnings, so there's not much participation into it. And again, don't forget that typically this happens and stocks lose a lot of their traders right ahead of option expiration, which is tomorrow. And of course, we're going to have a long holiday weekend next week. So there's not a lot of interest into the market for this period. But technically speaking, the price action is trading below the 10 EMA. So this puts it in a bearish power trending scenario. So obviously, if the price action is going to break $41, it's going to try to attempt to move back to the 200 SMA, which if we look back, you could see that it had an April low, April 2025, that produced this massive growth into the stock. So from the swing low in April to the high, this stock increased its value by 418%. So it had a massive rally. That's what I was telling you guys. Like, if you missed the April rally, okay, and if you're looking like to make some money right now, you need to have a lot of patience. And I would say probably after Thanksgivings. That Cyber Monday is usually typically super hot. But and it's also good for tech stocks, so it may be good for Rocket Lab as well. So just saying. But this is quite a pullback here. On the monthly chart, you can see here that this is quite a pullback to the 10 EMA. Please note, set some alerts into the 10 EMA because this can potentially hold. It was the same bouncing spot in April. So we had a pretty, I would say, large pullback right here, unordinary large pullback here, but watch it in close detail. The weekly is not ready for anything. However, going into next Monday, so wherever the high is going to be, watch the interaction of price. So the next candle and see if it's going to want to take out this prior high 46.26. Because if it's going to want to take it out, you could start building a position here. This is not like, just get a full R into this. So use either a quarter R or half an R and try to build that position. So your entry would be over 46.26. Your stop is going to go below the weekly low, wherever that is. So if there's going to be any other fluctuation going into tomorrow, going into today, obviously. So please measure correctly over this week's high and below this week's low for the stop. And your first target is going to be 20 SMA. It's going to be this prior pivot high. So you're going to set targets in the first resistance area, which is very close to the $50. It's in whole number, even number. And remember that these whole numbers are sought after, especially if we're going to get a turkey rally. So pay attention to this, okay? And then we should see like $53, and then we have a wide tradable void all the way into these peaks of $70. So it's not looking that bad, but it's not ready. It's not ready now. These would be the parameters. You could see that the daily is still downtrending. It's actually into a super downtrend right now because the price action is trading below the 10 EMA. So it's more bearish than bullish, but the price action is still pinching between the 200 SMA and the 10 EMA. So this could create that volatility and the fluctuation. Notice also the volume. Okay, so the volume is lower, right? So again, not a lot of participation in this one. So Randy, I hope that you found this information useful. Amenga, all right, you're asking NQ, is it NQ futures or is it a stock NQ? Like, let's see, NQ. All right, NQP. So is it NQ futures? Please answer the question. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to skip to the next one. I don't know if it's a stock or this is for stocks, but I could do futures. I don't know whether you're asking. Okay, you're not here, so we're going to move on to the next one, and that's Microsoft. All right, so Microsoft has been basing for some time. Now, remember that typically these tech stocks tend to rally during the month of December. The month of December has its own specific things that it's going to deal with. We're not going to get in details right now because I could talk for hours about what's going to happen in December, but we still don't have a bottom set in. So this is not yet a double bottom because the price action has rejected this area. So the price action is still double top right here, but it's not double bottoming here. So it doesn't show any signs of reversal. Okay, so because of that, this is still in a limbo. We still have the price action very bullish. It's not bearish at all. We are coming from the lows in April, from the highs here into the 550. There was some heavy profit taking scenario in all the tech stocks that we saw, right? Most of them double topped into this, and that's because we had a massive growth, right? So from the April lows all the way to the highs here, Microsoft up 62.86%. So that's a massive a push to the upside. So at this point in time, there's no telling what the price action is going to do. Today, we're trading within inside yesterday's parameters, high-low. We are trading below the MAs. That makes it more bearish than bullish. So possible continuation to the 200 SMA, and it'll have continuation if we break yesterday's low, as long as the price action is going to remain within the high and the low of yesterday. Price action is going to be very choppy intraday. So from the weekly, we have already sandwiched down. This is a heavy sandwich down with the break of support into the 494. And we could expect a pullback all the way to around 468 to this 50 SMA, which is into the 460 area. So we could still expect a pullback going on into Microsoft, but it's Microsoft, so there's no telling what it's going to do. Again, remember that the next earning event is going to be in January, so there is a lot to digest for this. But anyways, if you want a bullish scenario on Microsoft, you definitely want to see it above 514, 515, and this is going to be above this high right here. I'm telling you, it's not yet bearish, but it has the bearish incipient pattern formation. Okay, so once again, it's not like if you want to add it to a swing long, if you want to, just invest in it, that's not the right time. I actually do have some alerts around the 450 and 460 where I would like to accumulate some for my long-term portfolio. So this is for you. This is Microsoft. So sit on your hands, sit tight right now, because it's not bullish, it's not bearish, it's fairly sideways into a massive bullish trend if you're looking at really dominant higher time frames. All right, David, SSRM. All right, SSRM. Okay, so this one, again, low volume. This is the theme for this week, low volume going into option expiration. This one seems to be holding here, and this is just trading into that 10 EMA, 20 SMA. You can see that it's coiling here. What I don't like about this pattern, though, is the fact that it's trading into somewhat of resistance, right? So this low right here, these low right here were unable to break out. They developed an overhead base. So it was not able to literally let go into the high, into the ultimate high that we had into the October 16th. So it's still just basing. I think that if we look at a weekly chart, we're going to get a much clearer image. Still holding strong. And I mean, like, it's kind of like repeating its pattern. So see the interaction with the 200 SMA right here, like very sloppy base. And once it broke out, it continued higher. Now, it reported earnings a couple of weeks ago, and then we have an inside candle here. So this is usually very telling, because if the inside candle goes out, the next candle goes out. So that would be like 22 bucks. If we tackle the 22 bucks, which we did this week, we had 22.09. Typically, we maintain the height of this level right here of $22 or 21.80 or 21.70. Usually it starts moving higher. I would pay very close attention to the low of last week, $19.70, because this is going to be telling. If we hold this low, then it is worth getting back in or getting in into 22 bucks. 22 bucks is going to be the line in the sand. If it breaks $22 and stays above $22, then it will have the capacity to move into 25, 26 bucks. But that's on a weekly level. So I do like this doji here for next week. So just monitor this very closely, because next week, like I said, over 22 bucks, you could actually have a tighter stop of $20.70 based on this weekly chart. But that's for next Monday. This week, nothing. Option expirations tomorrow. Our hands are tied. Okay. The next stock is CIVI. Okay. So CIVI basing into the lows, and we're going to take a quick look onto the monthly chart. So basically now it's into a decision zone. So this is your stage one, like sideways stage one. This is your stage two, progressing higher. This is the greed stage. This is stage number 3. This is the decision/indecision stage, because it's decision if we break below, indecision as long as we're staying sideways, and decision again if we break above, right? And then we continue higher. And now this is the stage 4 distribution, fear, everybody wants out. And now we're back into where we were in here, into the stage 1. So I really like this. The only thing that I don't like here that is different from where it was over here back in November of 2020 is the fact that right now the price action is severely downtrending, and it has been getting rejected over and over again off of this 10 EMA. So chances are that if we start breaking 24 bucks, it's going to go back to 10. And that's my bias on the monthly chart. It's still incredibly bearish, and it's trading below the major moving averages here. And again, I think if it trades below $22.50, it's toast. It's just going to continue lower. And then from the daily chart right here, again, it's basing at the very low. This is something that it doesn't have, it's a very wide, sloppy range. And for a stock of this price range to trade between $25 and $35, in fact, actually $38, this is super wide. I would not want to have a risk in this stock. But and again, it's a very slow stock, very low volume. So yeah, it's kind of like, watch it. Or if you want it for long term, I don't know, just pray to the trading gods. I don't know if that's an option. It's nothing that I would trade. All right, XLE, this is, again, it's gaining a little bit more momentum lately, and it's basing into the highs. So this is actually doing pretty well. It's trading above. So see, when I like to look at charts, I want to see charts that are trading above prior highs, or that are trading above the major averages, or stocks that have some kind of momentum. So from the daily chart, well, we see that we have been sideways for about 10 days, but we're trying to digest this prior high. So this sideways action right here is just chewing up the prior resistance high. So it shows us bullishness. And if we start breaking above these highs over here, the highs that we had, the highs that we had on the 17th, that we had on the 14th. So last week, we were going to start moving higher. It's something that we need to watch. Also, you can see here that we have some major resistance into these highs, into the $98 highs right here. And we have a lot of grind to the upside. We broke the trend a little bit here in March. We went lower, but the good news is that the price action is holding above the 200 simple moving average and holding above all the major averages. This week, gorgeous, gorgeous bottoming tail candle suggesting buying activity. So there is some buying activity, even though the candle is slightly red for the week. Again, it's because of option expiration and everything else that is going on, long weekend, yada, yada. But your major concern is going to be 97 towards $99. So if you want to initiate a trade long term or swing into this is the type of um, the type of pattern that suggests partial buying. Okay, I'm not really into partial buying. For me, it's either bullish or bearish. So I'm not into partialing into trades that much. Sometimes I do like half the size if I'm trading Qs or SPYs, depending on if they're very close to resistance or if it has a trigger into resistance and we really don't know if that resistance is going to reject the price and send it lower. That's when I do half the size. But if this is the case with maybe like quarter size or so, and then have your stop below the 200 SMA and look for the first target to continue into this 98. And this is a type of ETF that requires a lot of like long term. Like this is not something for long term or for swing. This is like long term. All right, so I hope that answers your question. And now WDC. Okay, let's look at WDC. Okay, so WDC, this is the weekly chart. I'm going to go here to the daily. Okay, so you can see here that the price action has being rejected by this 10 EMA was sent back down to the 20 SMA. But if you look back, there's a lot of symmetry because the price action has been responsive to the rotations off of the 20 SMA. So we had a rotation here off the 20 SMA. We had a reaction over here off the 21 SMA and over here. So when you're looking back at the price action throughout 2025, I'm sorry, you could see that it has been trend following. This is 2025, right, since April, right? Everything changed in April. We had the dip in April and we had the strong buy in April. And this stock had an incredible growth. So at this point in time, look for a regain and a close above the 10 EMA and above these highs of 166 area. And if we do, we're going to start moving higher. However, pay very close attention because we are in a line in the sand right now. The line in the sand is the 148. This is going to be a major sell. And if the price action is going to start trading, I don't know, anytime soon below 148, we're going to have a quite substantial void to about 134. We have confluence support right here from these highs, 10 EMA, etc. So that is WDC. Okay. Randy, do you want to do gold? Do you want to do gold? GOLD, GLD, or GOLD? Let me know. Okay. How do you predict when such selling would occur in advance, such as late August or October? Well, it's the pattern. It's super simple. So yeah, you're looking at the pattern. So this suggests major selling if the price action is going to take out the prior low. This is a simple sell setup into the high. And this is going to be a fade all the way to the 10 EMA. So it's very easy to predict. You have your selling patterns, and usually when the price action is getting very extended on either of the time frames, whether it's a daily or a weekly, or even if you're a day trader and if you see the price action that is way extended from the 10 EMA on the time frame that you're trading, watch for a sell setup. And if that sell setup occurs, you could fake the move down. And you could do the short squeeze to the upside as well. So you can predict when these things happen. But when you're doing such trades, keep in mind that in very strong uptrends, this is not going to be a favored short. So because of that, you want to do less size than your full R size. All right, Vito wants to do Goldilocks. Do you want to do GLD? Okay, GLD. GLD is in a limbo. I am in gold, by the way. And I think for the last time, probably this year, because I've made my money closed my last trade in July. more than tripled my account just with gold. So I did it through futures, and I'm all set for the year, to be very honest. So with that being said, gold trigger over 371 to 375. This is GLD, gold trigger 371. It's not too late to grab it right now. And your line in the sand is the 10 EMA, right? So you're going to put your stop below the 10 EMA, like so, like 355. And the first target that you're going to look for is going to be into the prior high right here. Okay. This is from the weekly chart. I'm going to show you the daily chart in just a second because it has another resistance area. But basically, you're shooting for 403. Okay. So this is the trade that is good this week, next week. So the trigger point is fine and it really hasn't done anything. And from the daily chart, you can see here that we had another small trigger at 376.20 the other day, and it triggered a little bit higher. It broke above this base here, so everything is okay with it. Now, I told you that there is going to be another resistance area, and that's in the 390 that you don't see on the weekly chart. So you have to keep in mind that there's this resistance at 390. So this is going to be your target one. This is going to be your target two. And now you're going to ask, is it going to go higher? It's going to break the highs. Well, of course, we can take a look because everything is predictable technical analysis and we can forecast all the moves. And that enables us to have a really high odd precision. All right. So if we manage to take the trade just above this prior high, which is into the 403, which is going to be our ultimate goal for the swing that we have initiated. Then we have further extension targets into the 415, 429, and larger target into the 473. So if you think that gold has stopped running, well, think again. So if the trade is going to hold, these lows right here, just below the I would say 355 to 350, we can start having another swing higher. So this is a bullish pennant. We're seeing a little bit of profit taking here into the just below the 400 I would say between 350 and 400 because it has been running like 100 points, 70 points, 80 points in a day, like dollars. Okay. And other than that, I was telling you guys about the pennant here. So here it is downtrending, but so high, lower high. But as long as we have this other pivot confirmed, we could still see the price action moving higher, right? So it's either going to start exploding over 388 and we're going to get into that 390 target and the 403 and higher. All right. I don't know if I have any time left. I think I'm kind of done. Just let me know.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
Okay.
gotta cut you off there. Sorry.
Okay, cool. All right, guys. Have a great rest of the day, everybody.
All right. Thanks, Anka.